X-rated.
Yeah! You made it.
7 episodes in a row?
Yeah, we only have to do it one more time. And then, we won.
Why only one more time?
Because I gave myself 2 strikes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We've got 3 episodes, and only one of them has to have an intro.
I'd say we go for the full Monty here.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna aim for a perfect score. I mean,
it's like bowling 300. You know, it just takes practice.
Yeah,
any idiot can do it.
You're not gonna get to the last frame and be like, well, it's close enough.
Yeah.
I'll need that last turkey. That's what they're called, right? When you get 3 in a row.
Yeah. I don't know if they still use that term at 10 in a row, but.
Yeah, I don't know. What is that? What's a group of turkeys?
Is it not a flock anymore?
Well, I don't know. There's gaggles of geese.
That's murders
of crows. I don't know how turkeys gather.
I don't know. Gaggle seems appropriate.
It seems right, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We'll never know. There's no way to look it up. What a shame. If we have any ornithological experts out there.
You just knocked it out of the park.
I'm just happy I said the right word. Or did I?
We'll never know. There's no way to fact check.
Oh, gosh.
It's been a hot day.
It's a hot day. Yeah, I'd like to tell our listening audience that this is the first episode that we are recording where I'm wearing shorts. Jorts even.
Yeah, you're showing all sorts of skin.
It's
tank top, jorts.
It's the first real nice day of the year here in Seattle.
Hence my wicked pit stains.
I don't know if you can see those from where you're listening, listener, but they're there.
They're a sight. But at least they're not a scent.
That's true. There's no no one's interested in broadcasting that sense that I know of.
Yeah, I'm using Aqua Reef deodorant. So
do you smell like the ocean?
The tropics, yeah. It's like the underside of a sea anemone.
When you put it on every morning, are you just transported to an island paradise? There's a coconut drink in your hand.
It's like the barnacles are eating the plankton.
I can already feel the sunburn on your face.
Like a squid beak down there. Even though I'm saying.
Lovely picture you painted. I imagine. Anything fun you've been up to?
I watched all 4 episodes of Twin Peaks.
Oh man,
the new series.
They released 4 episodes?
Yeah, so at first, I heard that they were going to release them weekly. Like, David Lynch specifically said that he wanted to have a week between viewings because he wanted viewers to be able to, absorb what they watched and, ruminate on it. So I started watching the first one, and then, the second one started playing. I'm like, what the hell's going on? But then I see it's, Twin Peaks Return Part 2. And I was like, oh, it's just, a really long... it's a 2-part episode or something.
Yeah.
And then episode 3 starts coming on. I'm like, okay, what the hell's going on? I wasn't expecting to watch 4 hours of Twin Peaks last night.
How do you feel about it? It's
definitely very Lynch.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how I feel about it so far.
Okay.
This is the first time David Lynch has directed anything long form since Inland Empire.
Right.
That was 2005, 2004?
I thought you were going to say that was really bad.
And that was really bad. So I was worried, him diving into this. I'm like, this is just, what if his head is still up his ass about this? And I'm not entirely convinced his head isn't up his art ass.
Oh, no.
It's way in that strange Lynchian direction. It's not, a fine middle line.
Yeah.
It's very much on one side of the spectrum.
Okay.
I'm going to withhold judgment. There's a lot to go.
Right.
And it's not bad by any means. It's just really heady, really arty. And he's not in any hurry to tie up all the loose ends.
Well, cool. I know everyone's really excited about it. So
yeah,
I'm. Speaking of being excited about things, I just found out today, maybe it was last night, that there's 2 films from 2 of my favorite directors debuting at Cannes.
Oh,
right
yeah?
now. Yeah. There's a Bong Joon-ho film that's coming out. That's actually going to be, as soon as it's done with the festival circuit, Netflix is going to release it, which I think is great. And then there's a new Todd Haynes, too.
Oh, so quickly. Okay.
Yeah.
Noah Baumbach had a film at Cannes this year as well.
Oh, wow.
That Netflix produced. It's going to come to Netflix after doing the festival circuit.
Awesome. I read a thing. Yeah, I found out about those because somebody posted some article that people were booing Netflix produced movies at Cannes. Because they're like, oh, there's only, you don't have to see it in the theater, blah, blah, blah. Which I kind of land on, no, you don't. I know that the movie experience is different when you see it, in a theater with people, blah, blah, blah. And, I like to see movies that way, too. But I don't think you should disparage streaming services because it's I don't know, growing up in, a suburb, an exurb of Colorado Springs, Colorado, in the middle of nowhere, the indie film section at Blockbuster was amazing, It was I would never get a chance to see these movies otherwise, So it's being able to see something on the small screen, even though I'm not getting the experience that the director intended, it's
You had such gay face when you said that.
It's great. Oh, also, I wanted to tell you about a movie that I saw.
Okay.
Have you ever seen Night of the Comet?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
That's
a classic.
Yeah. I saw it for the first time. I haven't ever seen it before.
I mean, 80s horror movies, that's my jam.
Is it a horror movie? I feel like that has a real problem with genre.
I guess it's more just dystopian or apocalyptic.
I feel like it was a movie with many personalities. Didn't know what kind of movie it wanted to be.
But basically, if your movie has that 80s of hair in it, I'm going to watch it.
Yeah.
And that had some 80s fashion in it pretty hard.
Yeah. Oh, I also watched Crimson Peak finally, too.
Okay.
I finished my Crimson double feature there.
You did Crimson Tide and Crimson Peak?
Yep.
Very different movies, but that's cool.
Very different, yeah. And the biggest thing I can draw from that is Tom Hiddleston is a babe. Still, if anybody was wondering...
I was wondering, actually. Even though I've seen that movie.
He's a handsome gentleman.
What's the movie where he's naked? High Rise?
Yeah.
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 Does he show his butt more or less often than Ewan McGregor shows his front?
Probably less, but I haven't seen as many Tom Hiddleston movies as I've seen Ewan McGregor movies, so
okay,
it's tough to say there. Also, he's not responding to any of my emails. You'd think if you're emailing somebody 6 to 10 times a day, they'd respond to one of them.
One of them would get through the net.
Yeah. I'm not making up all those fake email addresses for nothing.
But to be fair, they're all just Tom Hiddleston fan 1, Tom Hiddleston fan 2.
Still, one should get through. Matt?
Brian?
What is love?
God. Let me grab my notes. Love is...
Never having to say you're sorry.
Webster's defines a wedding as... the act of removing weeds from one's garden.
So this week, we watched Take This Waltz.
Mm-hmm.
It's a movie directed, written, and produced by Sarah Polley.
Yes. Who some of you might remember from the Dawn of the Dead remake.
That's right. Or Go.
Yes. Or X-rated episode 3, Sweet Hereafter.
It was 4, but close enough.
Okay.
And this is her second feature-length film that she made.
Yes.
It's from 2011 or 12. Just write that down.
I saw it. So, the day that I watched it was almost 5 years to the day that I watched it originally.
What?
I looked it up.
Wow.
Because when I initially saw it, it was part of SIF.
Right, okay.
And they were just doing, like, one screening, like, one day. Like, it was coming through town, then it was moving on. And SIF's going on right now, so I was like, oh, it had to be pretty close. And it was, like, within, like, 5 days.
Wow.
Of, like, the 5-year anniversary.
Look at that. So 2012, then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or at least it showed here 2012.
Okay,
like,
fair enough. Did you like it then?
No.
Did you like it this time?
More, but not really.
Ooh, this is good. We've got a dividing line here.
Yeah, so I feel as Sarah Polley as a director, this is a success.
Mm-hmm.
But as a writer, this is a failure.
Okay.
Because there are some scenes where I just hated everything that was that was coming out of their mouths.
Are you talking about the airplane scene?
Right off the bat, yep, I'm hating that part.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Why don't you, for our listenership, run down the basic premise?
Well, basically, this woman, it focuses on a woman played by, her name's Margot, and it's played by Michelle Williams, and she is just a restless, hopeless romantic who's been married for 5 years to Seth Rogen, and then she, while on assignment for her job, she runs into this dude, and they kind of hit it off on the flight back from wherever they're coming from, and then she finds out he's her neighbor, and romantic situations ensue.
Yeah, see, you say that she's restless. I think that she is sort of spoiled and naive.
Okay.
I think she got into a comfortable marriage,
Mm-hmm.
maybe before she properly sowed her wild oats, and now she's got a little buyer's remorse.
Mm-hmm.
But there's nothing that Seth Rogen does in this movie that makes me feel she should leave him. Like, not a damn thing.
Yeah.
Now, it kind of plays out, like, without giving too much away, the movie sort of
give it away.
Takes my side in the very end of things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but there was just never a point where I'm like, yeah, she needs to, like, go hit that, or, like, she needs to, like, leave this marriage. It was like, he's nice, he's funny, he tries to be romantic, he tries to be sweet. I don't know, he's got a cookbook coming out, seems like he's got his career at least on the right path.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just like, I hate this, I'm trapped. Like, I don't know. When I first saw the movie, I was like, the guy that she starts having feels for, I was like, yeah, he's pretty hot. I might have to have like a behind a curtain fling with him. But like, not like up and like ruin your marriage. And this time around, I'm like, he's like hot when you're like 23. And like, now that I'm, in my 30s, I'm like, he's just skinny.
Well, I think that that's totally a valid point.
Okay.
I would argue that she has a problem with wanting the romance more than wanting the person.
Okay.
So when she realizes after meeting, oh god, I don't even know his name. The
hot one?
Yeah, hot one.
Yeah, I don't remember now.
There's
no way to look it up.
Heretofore will be referred to as hot one.
Yeah.
It's not even about him. It's about the feeling of romance that she's excited about with him. It's like it's the fact that she doesn't. I mean, she even says, and I admit that some of the writing is a little clunky. It plays out like a play a little bit. But, like, she's on the plane, she says, I'm afraid of connections.
I hated it so much. Like, I'm watching it, and I was a little worried, because I was like, I didn't like this movie when I saw it 5 years ago. And I'm like, this is immediately confirming my worst fears.
Yeah.
I'm afraid of
but then I would also argue that is sort of, this movie kind of is it's sort of trying to take the romantic comedy genre and turn it on its ear a little bit.
Okay.
Because you get there, the movie starts off with their meet cute, basically. You know, when they're on the plane and then they get in the cab to go, why they're sharing a cab, no one knows. That's kind of stupid. But it's in like, oh, you live next door to me? You know, I could definitely see cutting a trailer for this movie where it's like, Margot's a successful writer. Hot guy's an artist, you know, with a husband coming out with a chicken cookbook, blah, blah, blah. But I think that, she's trying to kind of take that trope, an idea and genre, and kind of twist it a little bit. So basically the first part where they're on the plane, that's like the meet cute, you know? And then you kind of learn that she has a pretty good relationship. It's kind of quirky, which is annoying but to anybody else besides the people that are in a relationship.
Michelle Williams sort of has this, she's got the lock on, like, the Pollyanna who's, like, being crushed by her world.
Yeah.
Like, she looks younger than she actually is, I feel like, all the time. Like, she has sort of a girlish quality about her. But at the same time, she's got, like, a sadness to her.
Yeah. I think she's fantastic in this movie, personally.
Yeah, the acting is solid. Like, that's why
she wrings some good scenes out of some less than stellar writing.
Okay.
And I don't want to hate on Sarah Polley too much, but there's definitely some monologues that you could imagine some teenager saying that would make you cringe and want to, like, claw your face off. But she pulls them off, I think.
I think she's very good, and I think that the strength of the performances also kind of speaks to why I feel that Sarah is a good director. Because the movie looks very good, too. Like, we have the opening scene where she's baking.
Yeah.
And it just has, like, it's sort of fuzzy, or it kind of goes in and out
Soft
of focus.
Yeah. Saturated colors.
Yeah, it's got this nice golden hue to it. And then the set itself, like the hardwood floors and the wood paneling, like, it all looks very nice and warm. And, like, it's something that, like, it's those little touches, like, throughout the whole movie. Like, all the sets really look pretty good in the movie.
Right.
Like,
their house looks great.
Oh my god, it's a gorgeous house.
I love it.
Oh my god.
And I love the, like, later one when they're, like, spinning around the loft space.
That was a ridiculous place, though. Like, that's like a fantasy loft.
I feel like it would be cold all the time, or hot in the summer, depending. Yeah. But anyway, that's beside the point. But yeah, I agree with you. I think the movie, one of its strengths is definitely the cinematography and just the look of it. There's, like, that saturated, soft, warm glow to it. It's nice. And it feels, and that I would argue is another, like, take on romantic, like, the idea of romance and what it is, because it kind of puts you in that headspace of, like, rose-colored glasses or something like that.
So to go to your idea that Michelle Williams wanted, like, the romance, like, it's sort of true because her and Seth Rogen have a very comfortable relationship.
Right.
You know, they say, like,
I love you so much. I'm gonna inject your face with a curious combination of swine flu and Ebola.
And, like, they pee in front of one another and brush their teeth at the same time. And, you know, there's all that sort of thing. So it's like, yeah, they're nice and comfy and there's no real hard passion. It's like when they do try and be passionate, like, something always fucks it up. And I always blame it on her. Like, when I watch those scenes, I was like, you are just not reacting well to this.
Maybe. Yeah, I've never been in a relationship that's lasted 5 years, so I don't know. Maybe you can speak to that a little more.
I mean, it's sort of true, but, like, just the way that she reacted to it, I'm like, you were, like, going overboard, just not just playing it cool or going with the flow. Like, you were just, like, stopping the flow. Like, you were a dam on this, like, sexuality thing going on. Like, I don't know, stuff like that bothered me. I'm like, you just be cool, lady.
It's because she wants the romance of it, you know?
She does.
She wants those first parts of the relationship and we see that at the end when, I mean, we might as well just say it. Eventually she gets with hot dude.
Yeah.
And then we have this crazy directing montage. It's not a montage. What
Well,
is
I mean, it kind of is.
I guess
it
it's a
is
montage.
sort of like a variant of a montage. Like instead of cutting from scene to scene, we have the two of them in the center of this wonderful like loft,
department? Yeah.
and the camera's spinning around them like on a dolly, I
Right,
guess.
and showing the passage of time, basically.
Yeah, and like something will kind of block like a dresser or a bureau or something.
Yeah.
And like every time like you pan past it, like there's a different point in their relationship.
Right.
All to the Leonard Cohen song
Take This
Waltz. And I appreciated that when I saw that in theaters. Like I just wanted to like throw my popcorn at the screen. Watching it now though, I kind of liked it because it felt like Sarah Polley was trying to do a montage, but in a unique way.
Right.
And I don't know if it was totally on target, but I don't know. There's something about the effort, and I guess I just ended up liking it more than I used to.
Yeah. But so we see that after she gets with him, there's an incident where she has to go back to talk to Seth Rogen, and she's kind of realizing that like, oh, maybe this is what I like more.
Yeah.
So it's like she just suffers from grass is always greener syndrome, right?
Yeah.
Where it's just like no matter where she is, the other thing is better. That she's like, if it's like you offer her this or that, she's always going to say that.
Well, she gets that like new relationship high,
Mm-hmm.
like this explosion of sexual energy when she gets with Hawkeye, and it's not just like the two of them. Like they have the three-way where it's like the two girls and the Hawkeye, but then equal opportunity. They have a double three-way too, and you can tell she's loving it. And then once it kind of calms down, like it gets to the point where they're like just like cuddling while watching TV,
Right.
But
the
then,
sex doesn't seem so passionate anymore.
yeah, and then there's a scene that they mirror from earlier where she's peeing,
Right.
and when it was with Seth Rogen, like he was brushing his teeth and like talking to her.
Yeah. I
while
think
she's
he even
peeing.
gives her a kiss or something weird, like on the top of her head or something.
I think so. And then this time it's like she starts to pee and like he walks out.
Right.
Like he doesn't want to see that.
Right. And then like that's one of the better parts about this movie, I think, is that like I feel like you could cut the movie off when she finally does go with Hawkeye. Like that could be the end of this movie. But what she does is she keeps the story going for another 20 minutes, and we learn that she'll never be satisfied. Like, it's not like her and Seth Rogen's relationship was bad and that she needed to go with this guy. It's just that she's somebody who's in love with love and needs to get that, experience all the time. And that is a symptom, I would say, of Hollywood throwing us all these fucking rom-coms and saying, like, this is what you need to have. This is what love is, blah, blah, blah. So that's kind of what I feel like she's aiming for with trying to undermine the genre a little bit. Yeah,
I mean, Hawkeye was hot. Like, I see the attraction. But there was something just... Maybe this is just speaking to me and, like, the point in my life. But I'm like, Seth Rogen, this is, like, the best he's looked in, like, any movie. Like...
Yeah, I found myself thinking, like, Seth Rogen's kind of cute.
Yeah, I did, too. I was like, he's cute, he's kind of funny, he's always cooking.
I know,
like,
but it's always chicken.
I'm down with chicken.
Yeah.
And the house always smells really good when it's cooking. It's just the smell of chicken garbage is pretty gross.
But I'm like, there's worse husbands to have. Like
totally. I mean, and that's kind of the point of this. I mean, that's something that gets brought up in the shower scene.
Yeah.
Which
I want to go back to that.
We'll get there.
Okay.
But yeah, Sarah Silverman, who's also in this movie, mentions that like.
Sarah Silverman, I want to say, is the best part of this movie.
Yeah, she's great. I realized, so ever since you've mentioned, like, oh, anybody who can do comedy can probably do drama, like, I realized I'm just picking all these movies that have that in it. Because it's true. I mean, it's true, though. Like,
yeah.
In this movie, there's two. We've got Seth Rogen and we've got Sarah Silverman.
I love that Seth Rogen and Sarah Silverman are playing siblings, because they're both comedians, and I feel comedians, especially, like, ones of, like, similar, like, age, like, peers, are less likely to have a filter around one another.
Yeah.
And I feel like for like a sibling sort of situation, to have a sibling relationship on screen, you don't want that filter, because like siblings have known each other so long.
Right.
And I feel like putting two peer comedians next to one another and having them play siblings is perfect.
I bought it. Yeah, it looked real to me.
Yeah, like just the way that they like hit each other on the shoulder and the way that they joke and banter and laugh. Like I'm like that looks like siblings.
Totally.
Like, yeah. And Sarah Silverman, did you ever see I Smile Back?
Mm-mm.
It was basically if this movie was about Sarah Silverman.
Oh wow. Okay.
It's a drama. She plays like a mom with substance abuse, and it's like the beginning of the movie, like she's battling with sobriety, and then it's like hills and valleys, and like by the end of the movie, like she has to like leave because she can't like do everything.
Okay.
And it's not a great movie, but like Sarah Silverman was very good in it,
Mm-hmm.
and I also like because in that movie she was a very good mother and a terrible everything else.
Oh.
Like, she pulled it together for her kids, but she did not pull it together for her husband. She did not pull it together for anyone else.
Yeah.
And it just seemed like a continuation of her character here. And I think she's got dramatic chops, too. Like,
Totally, yeah. It's like you say, I keep seeing examples of it now. Also, I guess while we're talking about mothers real fast, do you get the impression that Michelle Williams' character in this movie would be a terrible mother?
Oh, yeah.
Because
I mean, she was a terrible wife.
It's just like when she starts this. When I watched it and she started talking to Seth Rogen about having kids, or like, "Oh, a dog's a starter for having kids." It was like, no. You do not get to have kids until you get to figure yourself out a little more.
Yeah,
because it was. Ugh. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
I don't want to be a mom anymore.
Yeah. She'd be negligent.
Yeah, she'd be bad. But going back to what I was saying, Sarah. So Sarah Silverman brings up the point of like...
Sometimes I think after 10 years, who's going to take a really active interest in whether I shave my legs or not? And at least after all this time, I like James. Is it worth trading all that in for something exciting with someone I may not like in 10 years?
Which is kind of like the conflict of this movie, right? It's like,
yeah.
Do you stick with what you've made and been working with, and try off in a new direction? Or, like, what are the benefits and pros and cons of that?
Yeah. One thing that I didn't like about the movie is that, and Woody Allen does this all the time, but at least with them, or with Woody Allen movies, it's like a comedy and you kind of have to exaggerate for effect. And this is, like, more drama, I feel, than comedy, and it's supposed to be truer to life, I guess. More kitchen sink drama.
Mm-hmm.
Is that it takes a really binary approach to relationships. It's like, you're either married and monogamous and like this is your life, or it's you can have this like wild fun sexual experience with this hot guy down the street.
Mm-hmm.
There's no middle ground.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was just a blah way to portray being in a relationship.
I think they kind of brush up against that at the end when she's talking with Seth Rogen, because they start to have a talk about their relationship.
I'm so sorry.
There's no reason to be sorry. How can you be sorry for doing what you had to do?
But I think that...
We didn't have this conversation then. I really have no interest in having it now.
I'm sorry. I got it.
So it's like, he would have been up for it if she would have just like said, "Hey, I'm crushing on our neighbor. Can I go fuck him?"
Yeah. Yeah.
I love you and I love everything about this and I just don't want to hurt you, but I really have all these things I need to get out.
Yeah. Because they're like 28 in the movie, or I think it's their age. They've been married for 5 years.
Yeah.
Who knows how long they dated before that. So it's like they were probably together, just the two of them, since they were like 21, 22, something around there. I'm like, I sympathize. You got wild oats to sow,
Yeah. And that's actually something I wish we would have gotten, just like a line or two of like what attracted her to him in the first place.
Sure.
Seth Rogen, just like oh, remember when we first did blah 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 or something, or like remember when you proposed to me.
I think that's what makes me not like her so much, is that it to me it looks like Seth is still like in it to win, like he still wants the relationship to work, and she's already given up on it. It would be nice if there was like some indication that like he used to do something and he doesn't anymore, and like it's sort of like an emotional letdown for her. Like one of the things that she was attracted to initially, maybe that he doesn't do anymore, isn't part of his character anymore, or something like that. Because, if this is the guy that she got married to, I'm like, as far as I know, he's still the same guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying, but... all right, well, I'll grant you that she's not the greatest communicator. But he also doesn't seem so receptive to her problems, There's that scene where she comes on to him while he's cooking, and then she's clearly upset when he's like, hey, stop, I'm trying to cook. And then she's crying and is like...
Do you know it takes courage to do that? To seduce you?
He's like...
I'm just making chicken.
That's kind of a dick move. Like, obviously your wife is upset. Go talk to her, Don't just sit there and be like, I'm working on this, babe.
At the same time, he was cooking. It's a time-sensitive issue. And then she chooses, right now. She's like, I need attention right now, and if you don't give it to me, I'm gonna fucking have a fit. And I'm like, to me, that just, she purposely, she picked a fight in that instance. She chose a bad time, and then, got all butthurt, when she wasn't his, top priority at that moment.
I'm not gonna argue that she's not needy. Her character does get downright unlikable at points, like when he's talking on the phone and she's putting her fingers in his mouth.
Oh my god, yeah. That's another thing. She chooses a horrible time to suddenly need his attention, and then gets all hurt when he's not giving it to her.
Yeah, and I think it's a symptom of her just trying to rekindle their romance poorly. She wants that feeling to happen again.
I feel like
and she doesn't know how to do it.
She wants to be put on a pedestal. She wants to be idolized. And I hate that.
I don't know about that. It's more like she's trying to recapture something that was there before. Some kind of romance or spark that they had going on.
Yeah.
And she doesn't know how to go about it. And at the same time, she's trying to fight off all these feelings she has for her neighbor. Yeah. So she's just conflicted in how to do it. I think it comes out in bad ways. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
There are definitely scenes where I'm like, honey, you're going about this all wrong. Yeah, I think she just has issues with romance and wanting more than is possible for her and for anybody. Relationships have entropy,
Yeah.
They kind of start to peter out, and you have to keep rejuvenating them. But the longer you're in them, that kind of requires less of this, loaded language that she has with her neighbor, where it's you can say things and they'll you can interpret them in many ways. Relationships require clear dialogue, or mature ones do anyway.
Yeah.
It's hard. I mean, it's hard because it's I sympathize with wanting that, I don't know, newness or new whatever it is. I don't even want to keep calling it romanticism because it's
So I'm gonna use this to segue into a different topic.
Sure.
So there's the scene at the pool where they're showering.
Okay.
And they're talking about the benefits of new.
Right.
And one of the women in the shower says,
New things get old.
So the movie kind of had, I don't want to say a fixation, but there was a very conscious focus on women's bodies, but in a very natural way.
Yeah.
Michelle Williams pees in the pool, and it's got that dye, so it's
I think she really pees, right?
It looks that way. The camera goes under the pool, on her butt, and then blue ink starts squirting out.
Yeah, I remember the first time I saw it kind of being shocked.
She pees several times in the movie.
Yeah, I guess you're right. And she showers a lot in this movie, too.
Yeah, because there's the prank that Seth Rogen throws the cold water when she's in the shower.
Yeah.
So she showers a lot. Then there's the shower scene at the pool where we get everybody who was swimming in that pool showering, and it's all different body types.
Yeah.
Sarah Silverman's in there and she's naked. Michelle Williams there, she's naked.
Full frontal, you get the whole thing.
Everything.
There's one woman that's an older woman, and she's just going at that everything down between her legs. She's just
And they had to decide to shoot that. Like, that wasn't accidental. They didn't, like, walk into a shower and just, like, catch whatever they caught. Like, they had to set up the camera, like, on the dolly or on the stand or wherever it was.
Yeah.
Get everyone in frame. Get everyone doing what they're doing, lathered up appropriately. Like, that was a conscious decision to get, and I don't know why.
Yeah. So I have a couple theories on this. So first of all, the scene just before that is the one where she's talking with Seth Rogen about having a baby and getting a dog. And so I think that it's sort of a hint at, like, women have biological clocks, you know, like, it's sort of like, while we want romance, there's also, like, this need to, like, get a baby before you're too old to do that, and then they show older bodies, and it's like, you know, new things get old, honey, so it's like you can't keep chasing the rainbow of a new romance, because eventually you're not going to be attractive to anybody anymore. Yeah. And I guess you could also use that argument the other way around too, is like, don't pin yourself down too early, because like you may still be young and beautiful and can do that. So yeah, I don't know, it's kind of ambivalent there. But then she follows that scene with the scene where she and Hawkeye have the martinis, and I think where he's describing what he would do to her.
I hated that scene.
Well, I think what she's doing is like, so there's full-on naked bodies, like we're seeing for several minutes on the screen, and it's like completely de-eroticized, right? Like it's not sexy at all. Yeah. And then you follow that with him talking about sex, and it's that scene where they're just sitting in a bar, and him talking about sex is much sexier. Like the idea of sex is hotter than actually seeing a naked person. Do you know what I'm saying? I think she's kind of trying to illustrate that contrast there. And that's the same thing with, you know, Michelle Williams' character, where it's like the idea of this guy is probably way hotter than actually fucking him, you know?
Yeah. I feel like that point. I felt like what he was actually saying, though, was how a gay guy who doesn't know women thinks women want to have sex. Like,
yeah, it's not comfortable to sit through.
But I also, like, I don't know any girls that, like, really, like, want a guy to say, like, in, like, a quiet bar setting, like,
yeah, this is 2 p.m. that they're having a
in you so hard. Like,
I mean, but this character is not a normal. I don't think she's representative of women. You mean everywhere?
Oh, I thought you meant our rickshaw runner, hot guy.
Well, he's not representative of
rickshaw runners. Yeah. Hashtag not all rickshaw runners. She calls him Gaylord at one point.
I wrote that down too.
Like, that seemed strange.
They kind of like neg each other on a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, it's a weird style of flirting where he calls her an asshole on the airplane. Mm-hmm. Like,
right away.
I think if some stranger, no matter how hot they were, called me an asshole that I barely was talking to, it's like, no. Yeah. Or in a bar, anywhere. If I was just starting to flirt with someone and they called me that, it's like, you don't know me well enough to call me that. Yeah. And therefore, I'm not interested in you. But, I don't know, she's into it. Different strokes, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's a comment on, like, how, like, romantic comedies, like, women fall for the stupidest shit. I mean, like, what's the Love Actually. There we go.
And I never saw that one.
I haven't either, but I've seen the scene where he, like, knocks on Keira Knightley's door, and he's like, he just has these signs up to her, and he's pretending like, and he just keeps pulling them, like, her husband's in the house watching TV. He's like, who is it, Hunch? It's like, it's carolers, and on the thing, it's like, just say that it's carolers, and then he pulls one away, and it's like, oh, I love you, blah, 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 and it's like,
boy, like,
it's gross. That's stalkery.
I was going to say, just based on this description, it sounds like he's about to murder her.
Yeah. And
just say it's carolers.
Yeah, it's kind of, I don't know. It's funny that, like, in the movie, that apparently comes across as romantic, but, like, in real life, if someone was doing that, it'd be like, I'm calling 911 now, you know. And actually, I wrote that down about this movie, too, because there's a lot of, like, walking that line between what would be considered romantic and what would be considered being a fucking creepo, you know? Yeah. On both of their sides, you know? She, like, wakes up early and pretends to be going to the grocery store when as he's coming out with his rickshaw. It's like, honey, you're pretty. We know what you're doing.
So while I think that Sarah Silverman is really like the shining light in this movie, she's my favorite part, I feel like Seth Rogen is a solid second. There's the scene when, like, I guess she's asking for a divorce.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of just does, like, little pans in and out, or little fades in and out of, like, his side talking. Like, you don't see her talking. You just see, like, him sort of gone on. And he sold it. Like, he sold that scene for me.
I thought you were going to be there when I died.
I thought he really embodied it. And then when they meet up again later at the end of the movie, and he has that, like, we didn't have this conversation when we were married.
Mm-hmm.
I like the way that they talk, because to me, they talked like exes actually talk.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I remember,
with some time to heal.
Yeah. Like, not right away, but it's like, I don't know. It struck me as real. Like, they're friendly, but they're not friends.
Right.
You know, they will be civil, you know, to each other, but they're not going to, like, go get some ice cream.
Right.
So I like that. In fact, I would say that I actively liked the movie post breakup.
Mm-hmm.
I felt
those last 20 minutes.
Like those last 20 minutes I thought were solid. So we get, like, the camera rotating around in the loft. We get Seth Rogen spilling his guts.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have that last scene at the house, and all three of those were solid.
Mm-hmm. Like, and then that's also, in that 20 minutes, that's also when you realize that the opening baking scene, which I think we're led to believe is her in Seth Rogen's and hers kitchen.
Yeah.
You find out, no, it's actually when, you know, she's with hot dude.
Yeah.
So you get that reveal, which is kind of fun.
Yeah.
But I think that that's the strongest part of this movie, is that that's when it really turns the genre on its head.
Okay.
Is that, like, it could stop and be just like this romantic movie where she ends up with what's his name, but then it keeps going. It's sort of like, did you ever read The Westing Game?
I'm not a book guy.
Okay. It's a weird, I mean, it's a young adult novel from maybe the 80s, I don't know. And the movie or the book takes place in a specific period of time, and it's kind of a mystery. And then, like, once it ends, the last, like, I don't know, 10 to 20 pages, it just expands into this weird universe of, like, and then she grew up and had family, blah, 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 and just, like, I don't know, it's just funny to think that, like, something should end, or where it could end, and still be a fine piece of work, but then it, like, this extra coda or whatever really makes it different and like sells it. Because then, like, you know, you realize that she's never going to be happy, and I think that's what the last scene shows her on that it's not a roller coaster, whatever, spinny, lighty video
teacups.
There you go. Yeah.
And she's alone because previously she was in it with yeah.
And then I wonder, is she what's she thinking while she's on there? Is she thinking, like, is she going back to remembering? Is she, like, remembering when they had their ride together, or is she just like?
It could be. She could be suddenly romanticizing what her new relationship used to be.
Yeah. Or is she just, like, enjoying being alone and, like, I mean, what is she thinking in that moment?
If I had to place it, I'd say that she's probably romanticizing what her new relationship used to be like. That she's already longing for the new, or for the original exciting days of it.
Right. She's just a hopeless romantic.
So in like the final scene at the house, where you got Seth and Sarah and Michelle.
Right.
Sarah Silverman's character is a recovering alcoholic. She falls off the wagon.
Yeah, we haven't talked about this yet.
And everyone's sort of meeting at the house because, like, she's gone missing. She was, like, supposed to pick up the kids or something like that, and she's AWOL.
Right. So
she shows up, runs into the trash can, gets out of their car with a box full of little ducklings or chickens. Yeah. And it's like, I got these for the kids. And I like that she's drunk, but she's not overselling it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know that she's drunk 'cause she, like, can't find her keys, and, like, she, you know, looks a little tipsy, but she's not like, you know, it's not like she's
is just slurred enough.
Yeah, like, it's not like she's wearing 2 different size heels while she's walking around. But I also like what she says to Michelle Williams, because she's like, oh my god, I haven't seen you in forever. You know, they were sisters-in-law.
Yeah.
And Michelle Williams is, like, almost not quite shaming her, but hinting of being like, how could you do this? Or, like, did something happen? And she goes, no, you can't do this to me.
Yeah.
I'm an alcoholic, moron. Nothing happened. This is my natural state.
And I've always liked that line. I was like, yeah, I mean, you're an alcoholic and you're drunk. Like, that's sort of true.
Yeah, you have to fight to be a sober person if you're an alcoholic. Yeah.
And then she's like, you fucked up much more than I did. Like, you can't undo this. I'll sober up. You've gone too far.
Right. But then I would say that alcoholism is almost a metaphor for her hopeless romanticism. Because she just keeps falling off that wagon, you know?
Yeah.
She's never going to be able... She's never going to be able to be a sober romantic because she's...
Cue addicted to love.
Yeah.
Gonna have to face it, you're addicted to love.
Anyway, yeah, so I would say that that's sort of what Sarah Silverman's alcoholism is
I can see it.
representation of.
By that. In that final scene, I think what I liked... Well, I liked a lot of things about it, but then there's also a nice little direction. Like, as Michelle Williams is walking away, she waves goodbye at Seth Rogen. You know, he waves goodbye back, and then she starts walking towards the camera, and the camera pans, and you see the car wreck behind her.
Right.
And I just thought that was a nice little pan. Like, she's waving goodbye to her ex-husband, pan over to car crash.
Remember that this was a car crash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever brushed your teeth while peeing? I feel like that's gross.
Well, if I'm in a rush, I sit down to do it, though. Because otherwise you're like, the motion of this makes your dick just swing everywhere. So.
Yeah.
And then, you know, splashing.
It's tough enough to aim that thing. So,
I'm always peeing with my eyes closed anyway.
in the dark, eyes closed, while brushing your teeth.
Yeah. I like to challenge myself. Trying to fend off
While
Alzheimer's.
spinning plates. Circus music playing. You got one on your dick.
It's amazing when I go to the bathroom. Whenever I use the public restroom, everyone's just clapping. They're so impressed. Well, I have a question for you. How much do you want to take that water aerobics class with Sarah Silverman? You don't?
0.
Don't you like the guy?
He wasn't even in the water with him.
Prospector. He's like...
And 3 more. And 2 more. And I lied to you. I lied to you again. I'm such a liar.
I think it'd be fun.
No, I didn't find him charming at all.
Fine, I'll take the water aerobics class by myself. Me and Sarah.
Yeah, I was going to say, you and all the old biddies.
How
much would you pee in that pool?
Well, I'd try it once if I knew it was going to change color.
See what color it is.
At the end of class.
Can you get my plates?
One moment, let me get the... Let me cue the music.
Instructor, Spotify bathroom mix.
All in all, I do like this movie because I do think it kind of attacks the genre and what it does to girls a little bit and their expectations for romance or people in general. Let's not say girls, but like just romanticism in general, what it does to people. It's no, Unforgiven as far as that is to genre, but it's a good effort and I like it. Well, Matt.
Yes. What do we have coming up next week?
Yes. You read my mind.
So next week we have some guests.
Oh, okay. That's right.
The boys from the Gayish podcast are going to join us. and we're going to watch The Celluloid Closet.
Oh, our first documentary.
Yes. I feel it's thematically in line with all of our podcasts.
Indeed.
So, yes, next week we'll be doing The Celluloid Closet.
Great. I didn't know that was about gay people on film when I watched it for the first time.
You think it was like a fat harvesting center?
Why did I watch it now that I think about it? I'm just like, what's this movie about? Celluloid.
Making soap.
Huh. But I remember really liking it, and actually, there's a lot of talking points on that I still use today, like talking about the sissy, and I learned about the movie Rope from that. Lots of movies I learned about from that too. Cool, excellent. I'm excited.
Good.
Let's plug our junk.
Follow us on Twitter at X-Rated Movies.
Yes. We also have a Facebook. We're on the Facebooks at the address to follow Rated X Movies.
Facebook.com/RatedX.
Right.
Like, subscribe, review, rate on iTunes. Just X-Rated Movies.
Or Stitcher or Overcast or whatever you're listening to. However this is getting into your ear holes. Find that service and tell them what you love about us.
We would really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And you can email us. It's a guarantee, like, we won't have one of our interns do it. Like, we will respond personally. It's just x.rated.movies@gmail.com.
Kara, you don't have to respond to the emails. We'll get to it. Thank you. You can go home.
Sanjay, you're fired. It wasn't working out anyway.
I know you've been stealing paper clips. We need those for our idea board.
And then another day at work, another box of stolen pens.
Great. Well, we'll see you guys next week.
See you next week.
With The Celluloid Closet. See you then.
Bye.
Bye.